What's up, SE Nation? My name is Ramzi Majab. I'm a solution engineer, finally, out of Ottawa, Canada. And if you don't know why I said finally, you might want to look at my previous videos. But basically, I'm back to being a solution engineer. And on this channel, we've helped hundreds, if not thousands, of solution engineers get better at what they do so they can get paid more money, close more deals, help their company and themselves. So today, I wanted to talk about sales leaders versus sales engineering leaders. They are very different, and they're very different in personality and very different in the way they do things. But before we get there, I did want to highlight the Peter Principle. Now, if you don't know what the Peter Principle is, it basically states that people get promoted to the level where they are incompetent at. So if you're a good SE, you're going to get promoted to become a leader. If you're a good leader, you might get promoted to be a director. Basically, you might keep getting promoted until you're no longer good at the job, and then you stay in that job instead of being pushed back down to a job where your level is still good instead of incompetent. Why am I talking about this? I will explain that at the end of this video, so stay tuned. Now, Chris White, if you don't know who Chris White is, he's the author of the 6 Habits of Effective Sales Engineers. He talks about the difference between salespeople and SEs. Now, I didn't take his whole list, but here's a few things that I see that are different. Salespeople are usually the life of the party, right? Where they're extroverts, they want to be the ones talking, and I'm generalizing. Don't get insulted. You might be different. Don't take this that I'm talking about you, but in general, they're the life of the party. They're pushy, and I'm not saying pushy in a negative way. They know what they want, and they try to get it. They're asking for the PO. They're asking their SEs to jump on demos, and they put it on the other person to say no. And I think that's a great thing and something that SEs can learn from. SEs tend to be a little bit more passive. They're okay taking a back seat. They don't want to be the life of the party. And generally speaking, if you find yourself that you're pushy in the life of the party, you're optimistic about deals instead of pessimistic, you might want to think about transitioning into sales. That might work for you. Salespeople are optimistic about deals. They think they're going to get a deal that may never come. On the other hand, SEs are very pessimistic about deals. A PO could be out their door and they're still thinking, I don't know if I'm going to get that. So there's a bit difference. Work in 5-minute chunks. So the methodology of working, I don't need more than 5 minutes to call a customer up and check in on them or ask them about the status of a PO. They might need more than 5 minutes. They might need 30 minutes, but they can work in 5-minute chunks. Send this email out. Send this email out. For an SE to send an email out, they usually have to do days of research, or at least hours of research, or half hours, but more than 5 minutes. So SEs tend to work in 1 hour chunks, or half-hour chunks if you want. Here, we'll change that to half-hour chunks. But basically, if you want to prep for a demo, if you are looking at a technical question that you're trying to respond to, you're doing some research, it's all going to take half-hour chunks, and that changes the way people work, and also salespeople tend to expect things from SEs that they cannot do. Salespeople, in general, tend to have a big ego. They tend to be very confident in what they do, even if they're bad at it. And that happens because sometimes salespeople hit quota despite not being good at their job. That just means they have low quota, but it happens. Whereas SEs, on the other hand, again, generalizing, seem to be driven by imposter syndrome, which is very different. Seems to be driven by their insecurity. Like, I don't know this technology, I need to go learn it more. I don't know this skill, I need to go learn it more. So it's very different from sales. So that's from an SE, from an individual contributor perspective. Let's talk about it from a leadership perspective. Now, what is a good leader? In my mind, and this is my definition, a good leader enables their team to perform so they can get the most out of them. It's not for the leader to perform, it's for the team to perform. Basically, the leader has to take a back seat, which is something that salespeople have a hard time with. Let's just say that. So if you look at the difference between sales leaders and SE leaders, sales leaders, some of them have a hard time giving up the spotlight. Like, I've been on calls with my salespeople, or when I was a salesperson, and the sales leader would try to take over the call. Although they don't know the customer, they might not know the product as much, they will just come in and try to take over the call. For No other reason than they just can't be still. When sales leaders jump on a call, there's two reasons. One, they're trying to build a relationship with the customer. Two, in theory, they're there to coach their sales team. So they need to witness what the sales team does, what the salesperson does, so they can coach them. But if they take over, it's very hard to coach. So have a very hard time to not be in the spotlight. Whereas the SE leaders, most of the ones that I've worked with that are true SE leaders, they tend to put the team front and center. Like, they will give up recognition for themselves to give it to their team. The sales leaders are very revenue driven. This is the quota, this is how much we need to make. Basically everything, all the conversations revolve around that. I had a very good sales leader in my previous job. I had to beg for coaching. Right? Every conversation that we had was around revenue, forecasting, opportunities, deals. It was never around, you can do this better, Ramsey. And maybe he was doing that with other people, but with me, he was not. And I had to kind of extract information about things that I can do better. SE leaders, on the other hand, are action driven. We cannot control the revenue for SEs, specifically for SEs. What we can control is the demos, how we demo, how many we demo, when we say yes, when we say no, what's the story we share when we're demoing. So the SE leaders look at that more than they look at, did you hit quota or not? Because that's more tied to the salesperson. If an SE is tied to 3 salespeople, like I am right now, it's out of my hands, really. It's in the hands of the salespeople. One thing a sales leader used to say, I don't want to hear about the labor, just show me the baby. Which is like, I don't care about your problems, just show me the deal. Show me the PO. That's what they meant by that. And that's common. And I'm not saying anything negative about anybody, it's just the way it is. Sales leaders tend to manage individuals. If you look at a sales team, it's not a team. It's a group of individuals all working separately to achieve their own goal. Whereas a group of SEs tend to be more tight-knit, tend to work more together, tend to support each other a little bit more. So SE leaders tend to manage teams. And we talked about being pushy. Sales leaders' motivation style is pushing. Get this opportunity earlier. Go talk to this customer. Whereas SE leaders tend to be more coaching oriented. The big difference between sales leaders and SE leaders is in what they care about. Sales leaders care about the win. I want to hit quota. I want to exceed quota because that's where my accelerators come in. They care about forecast, they care about pipeline. Whereas SE leaders care about the technical win rate. Whether you believe in technical wins or not, because that's a conversation that John Kerr and Chris White might disagree on. But basically, did we answer all the technical questions? Did we show value? Did we help close the deal? Are the SEs involved in the deal? Which is very important, especially if it's a pooled model, or if, like for me, I'm supporting 3 salespeople. There might be opportunities where I might not be involved in because I have way too many opportunities to work on. And then you have the deal management. So the discovery to win rate or discovery to demo. How often do we push the deal forward? Demo to close ratio, POC to close ratio, because POCs tend to be where deals go to die. I've said that a million times. I will continue saying that for the rest of my life unless you manage it properly. Why am I saying all this? Generally speaking, the promotion path is for salespeople is they start with being a BDR usually. If not, they might just start as being account managers or account executives, and then they get promoted to senior account executive, whatever the company has. My previous company had intermediate, advanced, expert, master. I don't care what the names are, but basically you are an account executive, you move up within the ranks as an individual contributor, and then you end up being a director for salespeople. So you manage salespeople. For SEs, generally speaking, you can start off at any point in this list. I've seen SEs who were previously, let's say, technical support, come in as senior SEs to a company. But generally speaking, you have junior SE, senior SE. You can go through the individual contributor track to become a staff, senior staff, or principal, or you can go into SE management and then SE director. But that's not the only way to become an SE leader. Here's other options. You're a BDR, you become an AE, senior AE, and then you become an SE manager for some reason. Or BDR AE, senior AE, SE director. Now that could be SE director and sales director, so as in SE is reporting into sales. Or I've seen salespeople get promoted into SE leadership roles. This is the whole point of this video. If you take anything from it, as sales leaders or salespeople cannot be or should not be promoted into SE jobs or SE leadership jobs. Why? Because we have two different personas. What sales leaders care about is very different from what SE leaders care about or should care about. If you hire a salesperson to be an SE leader, now all they're caring about is this portion right here. You're not supporting the SE team. The SE team will no longer be an SE team. There will be a sales support team. They will be inferior to the sales people because all the SE or the sales leader, which is currently the SE leader, doesn't know what they're supposed to be doing. They're only looking at the revenue. They're not looking at the win rates, the technical win rates. They're not looking at the demo to close ratio. They're not looking at what the SE actually need in terms of coaching, because for salespeople, it's pushing, not coaching. And you might tell me, oh, I'm a great sales leader and I'm a coach. I have not seen it. Come prove me otherwise. If we talk about the Peter Principle, people get promoted to within an organization to a role where they're incompetent at. Now imagine someone's an incompetent leader to begin with, and then they get put in as an incompetent leader in a role they've never done before. You're basically getting the worst hire for an SE leadership ever. Sales leaders are not more important or not better than SE leaders. Sales leaders, in theory, should be equal to SE leaders. And in order to do that, you have to have strong SE leaders to partner up with the strong sales leaders, which is the image that I showed here initially, where sales leaders and SE leaders are partners, and that drives the deal, the opportunities in the organization forward so they can close more deals. If one has the power over the other, you're losing a big portion of what the other does. SEs need to be able to push back on their salespeople. If there is a sales leader as an SE leader, that becomes very difficult. So if you're looking to build a team, don't hire a salesperson to be an SE leader. Or if you're looking to build an SE team. If you're growing your SE team, don't hire a sales leader to become an SE leader. Don't hire an account executive to be an SE leader. If you're looking to see what a great SE looks like, check out this video. I will see you guys next time. Get back to work. Peace.